Hello everyone, this is the CircuitPython weekly meeting for February 2nd, 2026. It's the time of the week where we get together to talk about all things CircuitPython. I'm Scott and I'm sponsored by Adafruit to work on CircuitPython. CircuitPython is a version of Python designed to run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. CircuitPython development is primarily sponsored by Adafruit, so if you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, consider purchasing hardware from adafruit.com. This meeting is hosted on the Adafruit Discord server. You can join anytime by going to the URL adafru.it/discord. We hold the meeting in the CircuitPython dev text channel and the CircuitPython voice channel. It typically happens on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, except when it coincides with a US holiday. In the notes doc, there's a link to a calendar you can view online or add to your favorite calendar app. We also send notifications about upcoming meetings via Discord. If you want to receive those, ask us to add you to the CircuitPythonistas Discord role. There's a shared notes document that accompanies the meeting and recording. You can contribute to this document beforehand. The final notes doc includes timestamps to go along with the video so that you can use the doc to skip around and view parts of the video that interest you most, although it will be a little limited today. The meeting tends to run 30 to 60 minutes. After each meeting, we post a link to the next meeting's notes document to the CircuitPython dev channel on the Adafruit Discord. Check the pinned messages to find the latest notes doc so you can add your notes for the following meeting. If you wish to participate but cannot attend, you can always leave notes in the notes doc ahead of time and I will read them off, or the host will read them off. This meeting is in 5 parts. First is community news. This is a look at all things CircuitPython and Python on hardware in the community. It's a chosen subset of items from our Python on Microcontrollers newsletter. The second part is the state of CircuitPython libraries in Blinka. It's a quantitative overview of the entire project. It's a chance to look at the project by the numbers separate from our status updates. Third part is Hug Reports. It's an opportunity to highlight the good things folks are doing, taking the time to recognize the awesome folks in our community. Fourth is Status Updates. Status Updates is an opportunity to report on what we've been up to. Take a couple minutes and talk about what you've been doing in the last week since the last meeting and what you'll be up to over the next week. The fifth part is In the Weeds. It's an opportunity for more long-form discussions. Typically, these come out of things that happen during the week and people add in the notes doc, but can also come from status updates. That's how the meeting will go. With that, we'll start community news, and I'll switch to the notes doc. So community news is a subset from the newsletter. First up in community news, we have Compiler Explorer now supports MicroPython. Sorry. Thanks to Anson Mansfield's work, Compiler Explorer now supports MicroPython. It provides a tool to compile code and quickly see the disassembly from all from the comfort of a browser, and that's via the MicroPython meetup notes. Next up, we have KimiCode, an open source Python-based coding agent. KimiCode is an open source coding agent under the Apache 2.0 license. It's Python-based and integrates with VS Code and Cursor, etc. It can also be connected to Moltbot, formerly Claudebot, which is now also called OpenClaw. It costs apparently are lower than Claude Opus. You can go to kimi.com. They have their own model as well. In Makery news, Particle is being acquired by Digi, who are the folks that do, is it XB? Yeah. Wireless, sorry, I should have kept reading. Wireless microcontroller board maker Particle is being acquired by Digi, home of the venerable XB platform that started affordable wireless on microcontrollers. PyCharm, in Python news, PyCharm IDE for Python development just got a big update. JetBrains dropped a major update for its Python IDE, PyCharm 2025.3.2. PyCharm and Google Colab are normally treated like separate tools, with the former PyCharm for that serious heavy-duty local IDE power and Colab for easy GPU-accelerated cloud access. This update merges the two. Interesting. So these topics come from the newsletter. The Python on Microcontrollers weekly newsletter is a CircuitPython community-run newsletter emailed every Monday. The complete archives are available here, which is adafruitdaily.com/category/CircuitPython. It highlights the latest Python on hardware-related news from around the web, including CircuitPython, Python, and MicroPython developments. To contribute your own news or project, email cpnews@adafruit.com. We appreciate your contributions and tips. And thank you to Anne for orchestrating all of that and putting it all together. Okay, next up we have the state of CircuitPython libraries in Blinka. This is a statistical overview of how things are going in the previous week for all of the different kind of subparts of the CircuitPython ecosystem. So overall, we had 13 pull requests merged from 11 different authors. Some new names for me are Hartzell, Mamiroff, RU Wallace, Ztwe, Goo Linux, and Fairnoval. Sorry, I'm sure I pronounced those wrong. But thank you to all those authors. We had 7 reviewers as well to support those folks. Issues-wise, overall, we had 3 closed issues by 2 people and 7 open by 7 people. So we are gaining overall. So next up, I will read the core. So within the core, we had 3 pull requests merged from 3 different authors. 2 of those are new, which is great, and 2 reviewers, Dan and myself. We have 29 open pull requests, so we're up over our goal of staying on a single page, which is 25. So we're going to have to take a look at that. Issues-wise, we had 2 closed issues by 1 person and 6 opened by 6 people, so we're net up 4 for a total of 855 open issues. We use milestones to prioritize the work done by Adafruit-funded folks such as myself. And kind of our core one is 10.1, which Dan is going to take a look at shortly. We have 9 open issues there, and that's kind of going to be our next feature release is 10.1. We have 2 issues not assigned a milestone as well that we need to look at and triage, which we probably have already done since these metrics were taken. And with that, let's ask Foamy Guy for an update on the libraries.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. This section covers all the CircuitPython libraries, which are hosted on GitHub. We have them split up into 2 main bundles on GitHub. There's an Adafruit library bundle, which has 280 different libraries in it currently, and a community library bundle with 172 libraries in that one, for a total right now of 552 libraries that support CircuitPython. Over the past week, there were 6 pull requests merged in the Adafruit library bundle by 6 different authors. Thanks to folks whose name is newer or less frequent to my eye. I think Scott mentioned these, but I will echo RU Wallace and Ztwe. Thanks for doing some library development work. We had 4 reviewers, names who are more familiar here, thanks to Anne, Tektrick, Dan, and myself. Of the pull requests that were merged, we are back onto the newer side of things. The oldest one was only 2 weeks old. The newest ones were 1 day old. There are 34 pull requests that remain open after the week. The oldest one of those is a draft that is still out there at 1,264 days, and the newest one right now is listed at 6 days old. Issues-wise, we had 1 issue closed by 1 person and no new issues opened up, which leaves us right now with 769 good issues. And there is one of those that is labeled as a good first issue, which you could find listed over at circuitpython.org/contributing, which is the website where you should head if you want to start getting involved in CircuitPython, especially contributing onto the Python side of things. On that website, circuitpython.org/contributing, when you first load it up, the first thing you'll see is a big list of open pull requests. These are links over to GitHub, and they are waiting for a person to come along and review a proposed change, which is where we tend to point folks who are brand new and want to get involved, but don't necessarily have a clear idea of what they want to do. This is a good first step. So if you would like to join us, you can take a look through the PRs that are linked on that page, click through to GitHub, read about what the proposed change is. It might be fixing a bug or adding a new feature or something like that. You can look over the code that comes along with that change. If you have the hardware for it, you can test it out on hardware. Once you have done those things, you can leave a comment on GitHub letting us know how it went. What did you find when you looked over the code? If you did have the hardware and you were able to try it out, how did that go? Did it work? Did you have trouble? What kind of devices did you use? What versions of CircuitPython? All of that sort of stuff is very helpful to add into your comment. Once you get comfortable with that process, if you would like to get leveled up to leave official reviews on GitHub, we can work with you to add you to the team to be able to do that. If you would like to start contributing some of your own code, you can also get started on that from the same page at circuitpython.org/contributing. If you look along the top, there are some links for navigation. If you click over to the issues page, you'll see a similar looking page with a bunch of links over to GitHub, but these ones represent issues. They don't have a proposed change yet. They are waiting for a person to come along who is interested in working on whatever that change would be to fix the bug or add the new feature or enhancement or whatever it may be. And that could be you if you are interested. We do have a Learn Guide for contributing to CircuitPython using Git and GitHub. We also have folks who are more than happy to help you out here on the Discord. So if you are trying to get involved, reviewing PRs or submitting some of your own PRs, if you're having trouble with any part of the process, the version control or the actions or anything else, come say hi on Discord. Let us know what you're up to. We would be happy to help you out. We want everyone to be able to contribute in whatever way works for them. And then I will leave you with the updated community bundle libraries this week were CircuitPython Button Helper and the Piper Blockly library over in the community bundle. And that's what we've got for libraries. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, next up, I'll read the stats for Blinka. Blinka is our CircuitPython API compatibility layer. So this brings CircuitPython APIs to things besides CircuitPython, such as MicroPython and CPython running on Linux. So for Blinka, we had 4 pull requests merged from 3 different authors, so thank you to those, and 2 reviewers, Carter and Melissa, so thanks to them. The Blinka family of repos has 16 open pull requests. Most of them are on Pi5, NeoPixel, and POMatter. Issues-wise, there were 0 closed issues by 0 people and 1 open by 1 person, for a total of 146 open issues. And the number of supported boards stands at 166. So that's the update for Blinka. Next up is Hug Reports. Hug Reports is a chance for us to say thank you to folks in our community for the awesome things that they are doing. I will start and then go down the list of folks in the note stock. If they're marked as text only or not present or something similar, I'll read them. Otherwise, I will hand it off to the person noted in the note stock to read theirs out and give us color commentary. So first, couple of thank yous. First to DCD for watching my deep dives and taking time codes for people to use when watching deep dives. And thank you to Foamy Guy here for recording the meeting for me just now because my OBS was not starting up. So thank you, Foamy Guy. Next up is Dan.
Thanks. Okay, so I'd like to thank recent bug reporters who often reported the bug first in Discord, and then I encourage them to write an issue. I appreciate that. Carter, J0, J26, J Mangum, D Jekin, GR Grant, Just Mobilize, and more. I went back a couple of weeks here, but we really appreciate documenting bugs in issues. Then we can see if they're similar to existing issues, and it really helps us work on them. And then thanks to Tetrick for jumping back in with a bunch of PRs. Looks like he's really starting up again. Thank you. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Next up is Foamy Guy. Thanks, Scott. I will echo a hug report for Tetrick. Thanks for working on several library and infrastructure issues over the past couple of weeks. And I also have a hug report thanks to Retired Wizard, who added support for eSpeak to the local Spelljam TTS backend. So Spelljam app you can run on the Fruit Jam now supports an additional backend for text-to-speech, which is really cool. Thanks.
Neat. Thank you, Foamy Guy. Next up, we have notes from Retired Wizard, who says, hug to Foamy Guy for his fun and inspiring streams covering CircuitPython, Raspberry Pi, and AI topics, and a group hug. And lastly, for hug reports, we had Tetrick, who says, hug to Dan for taking a look at my issue in the core. Don't often do that, much less for anything that isn't a doc string. To BND5, BNDY5 for PRs bringing pre-commit to the CircuitPython build tools repository, and a group hug. With that, that's hug reports. Next up, we have status updates. Again, I will start and go through the list. So for me, I have a draft PR for the native sim tests. It's approved, but still failing CI, so I've got to take a look at that. My Yodo PR that adds native IO expander support is green on CI, but awaiting review. Dan's going to look at that today, I think. I need to write out a guide page for Yodo reverse engineering for the guide that Liz is writing. And then my main quest besides that is getting native sim running to test Bluetooth BLE on Zephyr. The goal is to be able to use those tests to make sure it stays working, but also that it works kind of upfront. And then I've been doing a lot of like LLM agent coding stuff. So I have a few side quests in that native sim vein. I want to get networking going with native sim, and then add web workflow tests and just generic socket tests. Once I do that, I also want to get USB over IP working so that we can kind of exercise USB in the native sim. So we can test writing to the file system and getting the CDC output that way. And then I also do want to get playback from a Perfetto trace working for testing stuff that reads input signals. For example, reading digital I/O read, pulse I/O read, frequency I/O read, count I/O, and rotary I/O are all things that we could actually test if we had like a sample waveform that those were reading off of. So I'm in a automated testing phase using the Zephyr native sim, which looks quite promising, but still trying to figure all the things out. And next up, let's go to Dan.
Okay, so I now have submitted a PR that has the airlift Wi-Fi code. I just posted some sample code for anyone who'd like to try testing it. This is a draft PR right now, but I really appreciate people who have some network experience trying this out. It explains in detail in the PR what works and what doesn't work, and the sample shows you how to set up the pins to talk to the Wi-Fi coprocessor. I've been testing this on a Pi portal, but you could test it on other things as well. So I may ping some of you for doing this as well. I'd like to get a 10.1.0 general release out, but there are some bugs that I'd like to fix before we do that are some regressions on previous things. So I'm going to be looking at those bugs. And then I'm also in the pipeline is that we have some MicroPython merges coming up. We need to merge MicroPython 1.26 and 1.27. And also, I'd like to get Wi-Fi working on the ESP32P4 dev board that we support, and it has an ESP32, I think C6 coprocessor, which runs Expressiv's firmware and a special firmware load, and we should be able to get Wi-Fi working. Expressive has some code that makes it easy to do that makes it look like native Wi-Fi underneath. So it shouldn't be that much trouble. It's probably mostly getting the right build environment set up. So that I'm also going to look at. That's what I'm planning to work on. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Dan. Next up is Foamy Guy.
All right. I have been mostly working on setup and documenting and experimenting with OpenClaw. As noted, it has gone through a couple name changes, so you might have seen it as ClawdBot or MoltBot, but it's been all the rage on the socials over the last week or so. I have been trying to get it up and running on a Raspberry Pi 5, and I am working on documenting that process as well as connecting it up to different bits of hardware. So we've successfully got a screen, a camera, a temperature sensor, some NeoPixels, some speakers for speech output, and then it can also do speech input as well on this thing. So it can do quite a lot, and it's a very interesting little project to be able to run one of these agents in its own little machine that it has sort of carte blanche over to install stuff and run commands and do all kinds of things. Definitely on the risky side, but a very interesting tool. You definitely see how it can help you get a lot of stuff done. And then beyond that, this morning I tried out the MicroPython OS. This can run on ESP32 S3, but they also have a desktop port as well. So I tested it out on Linux desktop. poked around, looked at some of the built-in apps, downloaded a few apps from the app store they have, and took some screenshots and wrote up a quick blog post for that. So if anyone wants to see it on the blog, but I do think I will circle back to that in another week or two and take a deeper look and start trying to run that on a Raspberry Pi and maybe some other platforms as well to see if we can't add support for some more devices, because I do think it looks pretty cool. And that's what I've been up to. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Foamy Guy. Okay, next up, we had notes from TechTrick as the last person for status updates. So TechTrick says PR reviews, particularly in the build tools, picking up some quick fixes here and there, reopening some old ideas for CI/CD improvements, particularly using Walkwe to analyze the amount of memory used by libraries due to importing them. More to share after some prototyping. Hoping to continue working on my CircuitPython co-op library as time allows. That's the update from TechTrick. Okay, and that's it for status updates. Thank you, everybody. Last up is In the Weeds. We don't have any topics, but this is where we kind of reserve some space if folks have things or questions that they want to bring to us or that we want to talk about. Usually what happens is if you have those, you put your name in the notes doc under In the Weeds and a brief summary of what your topic is, and then we'll hand it off to you to drive the discussion about what it is. So no topics today, but know that that is there. And let's wrap up. So this has been the CircuitPython weekly meeting for February 2nd, 2026. I'll find my notes. Thank you, everybody who participated. If you want to support Adafruit and CircuitPython, and those of us that work on CircuitPython for Adafruit, consider purchasing from the Adafruit shop at adafruit.com. The video of this meeting will be released on YouTube at youtube.com/Adafruit, and the podcast will be available on major podcast services. It will also be featured in the Python for Microcontrollers newsletter. Visit adafruitdaily.com to subscribe to that. The next meeting will be held next Monday, as usual, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. But heads up that 2 weeks from now is President's Day in the United States, so 2 weeks from now it'll be on Tuesday. So next week is Monday, the following week is on Tuesday. This meeting is held on the Adafruit Discord, which you can join by going to adafru.it/discord. To be notified about the meeting and any changes to the time or day, you can ask to be added to the @CircuitPythonistas role on Discord. With that, we hope to see you all next week. Thank you, everyone, including Foamy Guy, for recording the meeting.